Good morning. Happy Sunday, everybody. This is what I woke up to. As I told you before on this channel, we have all realism here. I do not have the picture perfect Instagram kitchen. Sometimes I choose not to wash the dishes. And this is what we wake up to in the morning. But it's okay. We're going to get this day started with a nice hot cup of coffee to wake us up. We'll get to cleaning, and we're going to make a delicious dinner for Sunday. Sundays are my favorite days. I get up, I get my chores done, I get my Sunday dinner started. We always eat well and have dessert on Sundays. And we try to relax as much as we can. So let me make my cup of coffee and my husband's cup of coffee, and we'll get this day going. So because I'm indecisive, I decided to sit down and fold some laundry. I try to make it a point to be still when I drink my coffee because I always let it get cold. I am the queen of the reheat. I can reheat my coffee up to 4 or 5 times. So normally I try to distract myself by sitting down and doing something. That way I feel that I'm not wasting time, but I also give myself an opportunity to enjoy my cup of coffee. So I decided to just finish up some of the laundry that I had, drink my cup of coffee, and then get started on the kitchen. I want to get the kitchen nice and clean. That way it lends itself to be able to cook dinner. And knowing me, I'll find something else in there that needs to be done and take care of that as well. But in the meantime, let's luxuriate in the beauty of folding laundry and drinking a nice, delicious hot cup of coffee. As any mom or abuela knows, that when your attention is asked for by a little one, you sometimes have to just stop what you're doing and give them the attention that they need. Yes, I was in the middle of folding clothes, but sometimes he likes to just sit in my lap and do nothing. So that's what we do. And come on, look at this face. How can you say no to this face? I can't. Let's be real. This is baby dude's world, and we're just all living in it. I'm not sure what it is about being able to be in my kitchen by myself and being able to clean uninterrupted, but it's so therapeutic for me. I absolutely love my kitchen. When we moved into our house, it is a 1965 ranch, and although my fashion style and lifestyle preference is 1950s, My home aesthetic is not quite 1950s. So our kitchen was absolutely from 1965 when we first moved in. And my husband and I hated it, but we knew that this house had so much potential. And we knew that we could turn it into something that we loved. And the one thing that I absolutely appreciate about my husband is that when we were doing the home renovation, I'm of course always the frugal one. He said that give me a list of all your wish list items in a kitchen and we'll start from there. And this kitchen may not be as big as other people's kitchens or as extravagant as other people's kitchens, but it is truly a dream kitchen for me. And I love to cook in here. I love to sit at the counter and drink my coffee and prep my food every month. And it's just a joy to be able to have this beautiful kitchen. My oldest daughter recently moved out. She'll be 30 in January. She hates when I say that because she hates the thought of getting older, I guess. But my plan after she moved out was to obviously convert her room over to a room for baby dude, which we are in the process of doing. You'll see a lot of that in my next video. But also to basically do a lot of deep cleaning and reorganizing of our home, because certain parts of our home was set up to be conducive for her use and her ability to be able to get around without any encumbrances. But now we can kind of change things around a bit and also you know, get our living room back because that was pretty much taken over by baby dude with all his toys and everything. But now that he'll have his own room, he'll have his own space, and I'm really looking forward to just deep cleaning each room and getting everything back in order before the holiday season. I usually like to do that because Christmas is big in this house and I need everything up to par before I start decorating. I just try to give myself as much grace as possible. I know we all feel like we need to get it all done in one day or one weekend, and a lot of times we're really hard on ourselves. And I have just chosen that I'm gonna start giving myself a lot more grace. If I don't get the dishes done, you know, I can start the dishwasher tomorrow. The world is not going to end if there's a spoon in the sink, or, you know, I didn't dust today when it was on my list of to-dos. So I urge you to give yourself grace. You know, everything doesn't have to be done in a day, and the world is not going to come tumbling down if you don't get everything done on your list. Sunday dinner. This Sunday, I decided to make one of my family's favorites, lasagna soup. There are a million recipes online, but I will leave a link below to the recipe that I used. I particularly like this recipe because it uses these noodles. I believe they're called Maldafine noodles. I don't know. I'll leave it at the bottom. So I'm going to chop up a nice big yellow onion. We're going to dice that up nice and small. Along with some garlic, we're going to get that into the pan and saute. Okay, and now we're going to chop up, I would say about a full pepper. The recipe calls for green bell pepper. I prefer the yellow, orange, and red ones as they are sweeter than green pepper. But of course, you can use whatever you like. This is what I had in my freezer. This is what I normally have in my freezer when I do my monthly prep. So this is what I used. Okay, so now you're going to add 3 tablespoons of oil. I used olive oil to a nice big Dutch oven. If you don't have a Dutch oven, you can just use a big pot. And we're going to heat that up a little bit, and we're going to add our onions and garlic and let them saute for about a minute or two until they're aromatic. Okay, so like I said, here's where you would add your garlic. I pre-make minced garlic every month, and as you see, I have it in these heart-shaped molds, so it comes out like a heart. Super cute to cook with. You can add garlic confit, which I also make every month, once a month, but I chose to use the minced garlic that I made instead. And here is my garlic confit. I keep a little jar of it, and it's perfect to add to recipes as you need it. Once your onions have softened and your garlic is aromatic, you can go ahead and add the peppers and let them soften a little bit before you move on to the next step. Okay, does anyone notice my little helper, who's not really a little helper? So here's where we'll go ahead and add the ground beef. I pre-portion all of my meat when I grocery shop, so it makes it more convenient when you're cooking. I add in my ground beef, and then when it starts to cook, you can add in your seasonings. I normally like to start with about a teaspoon and a half of each seasoning. And as any good chef will tell you, you always taste as you go along, and you add more seasoning if need be. It's a good rule of thumb that I give my daughter. She's starting to cook more, yay. But as you can see here, I don't measure anything. I've been cooking for years, so I kind of got the whole measure by sight down. The recipe calls for red pepper flakes. I get really bad heartburn, So when I cook, I tend to not add much spice. So we just added a little bit here. And then if my family likes to add more spice, they normally just add it on their own. Okay, now we're going to add back in the onions, garlic, and peppers that we previously sauteed and mix it all together in preparation for our sauce. I completely forgot to add beef bouillon, which the recipe called for a little bit of that. So I'm adding that here as well. Okay, so here is where I'm adding some diced tomatoes. I normally like to get the diced tomatoes that has like basil or garlic or some other added flavor to it, because then that's something that you don't have to add yourself. It's already in with the tomatoes, and it helps to just give additional flavor to your dish. And this is my pre-made spaghetti sauce. I don't buy store-bought spaghetti sauce. I make my own. I'll do a video of that later, but it literally takes all day to make my pasta sauce. So I just had some that I had frozen in the freezer, so I just used that. You're perfectly fine to use pre-made pasta sauce. I just make my own, so that's what I used. And I used about 2 cups to start, and I think I did in the end add an additional cup. Okay, watching this back, I have no idea how much beef broth the recipe required. I'm gonna say probably about 3/4. That's what that measuring cup looks like. But again, all the recipe information will be in a description box below. I do know that I did wind up adding substantially more beef broth to this recipe because again, it is supposed to be a soup. But for some reason, it always comes out thicker than a soup when I make it. I'm not sure why. And you also have to add some heavy cream here, and then you just let it cook down for a little bit. I believe that was a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. Okay, so here's where we add our noodles. They are called mafaldine noodles. I believe I'm saying that correctly. Again, in the description below. But I like these noodles better than the regular lasagna noodles. Normally the recipe calls for you to just break up regular lasagna noodles, but I just like these so much better. So the chef whose recipe this is what he used, so it's what I used. And again, I will link the original recipe in the description box below, as well as all the ingredients. So you add about 3/4 of the package into your lasagna soup mixture, and you just let it cook down. Okay, so now we have to get our mozzarella shredded. I got this cutting board from Aldi's, and I absolutely love this cutting board. However, this grater part of the cutting board is absolutely horrible. I don't know if it's only meant for hard cheeses, but it did not work on this soft mozzarella. So of course I had to switch it out and go old school with the cheese grater. So we're using this one. I don't know what this one is called particular. It's the one that they use at the Olive Garden when they put the cheese on your food, but this works so much better. All right, now that our soup is bubbling away on the stove, I like to try and get the kitchen back to its original position before we started cooking, because as you know, once you sit down, it's over. So normally I do just get the dishes done while the food is cooking, just to get a nice clean space again and get reset for the week to come. So here is where you're going to smash up your garlic. Try and get it into a nice paste. I add about a half a teaspoon of garlic powder and about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. And then we're going to add our smashed up garlic confit to our butter and mix well. Okay, so now that we have our garlic butter prepared, we're going to make our homemade garlic bread from ingredients that we already have in the freezer. Yay! This bread I actually got from, it's an app called Too Good To Go. They are a company that joins with grocery stores and restaurants, and the goal is to salvage food that would otherwise be thrown away. What you do is you go on the app, you pick a particular restaurant, and you purchase what they call a surprise bag. You do not know what's going to come in the bag. They do give you a general idea. For instance, if it's a pizza place, they tell you you're going to get whatever food they sell that's left over at the end of the night. It could be pizza, it could be pasta, salads, whatever. It could be, if it's a bagel place, obviously it's whatever bagels they have left. If they sell sandwiches, sometimes you get that. This particular place was Paris baguette. We got a lot of pastries, and as we were getting ready to leave, he handed us this delicious loaf of Italian bread. So I was able to cut it up and freeze it because I knew that I would use it for probably either this purpose or to make sandwiches out of. But it is an amazing, amazing idea, and I love it. And I've used it about 5 or 6 times. And I encourage you to use it because it is ridiculously cheap to buy the surprise bags. The Paris baguette bag was the most expensive one that I purchased at $9.99. And when I tell you we got probably about $40 worth of items in that bag, that's speaking conservatively. So yeah, it's a really good thing. And again, I'll post a link to that in the description box. But so yeah, so we just take our garlic butter spread and we spread it on our bread, and I place the bread on the pan, and then we're just gonna pop it in the oven. All right, and there you have it, our lasagna soup. Although mine is more like a lasagna bake since it's a bit thicker. We just made it with a nice side salad, and it makes for a wonderful Sunday dinner. So thank you guys for watching another video and staying until the end. I hope you guys have a wonderful, lazy Sunday and enjoy the rest of the week.